Hey flower folks, welcome to Share Inspirations. In today's video we are going to be talking about a plant called mock orange. This is a beautiful, fragrant, flowering perennial that I added in the garden on the 16th of July as bare root. All it was these just 3 twigs that I put in with a good root system. I got this as a plant exchange from one of my plant friends. This plant is hardy down to zone 3, so all of my plant friends that live in colder zones, they can go ahead and grow this, and it is a very healthy grower. Will come back since it is cold hardy to zone 3, and it can grow up to zone 9 as well. Anything beyond that, it will not have the cold stratification that it needs to thrive. So zone 3 to zone 9, it is very fast growing. Even in some areas, I believe in the south, they're considered invasive species. So make sure if you have that to grow it in a container. However, I am in Southern California high desert, and for me this is a very healthy growing plant. It does not take over or cause any problems or anything of that sort. This blooms for about 4 to 6 weeks and blooms around Mother's Day time frame with fragrant white flowers with yellow insides. This is a single flowering variety. You can grow this as either a hedge or a bush. I am planning to grow it as a bush, and I'm going to train it by cutting the flower stems of where I want it to go, and so on and so forth. This can take partial sun or full sun depending on where you are in the world or the country. I am in the desert, and of course my sun is extremely harsh, so I have it under my pine tree, and it only gets 4 hours of sun. And if you notice here, even that 4 hours scorched a little bit of new growth right here. So I upped the cycle of watering so it can thrive. It started having a little bit of a burnt leaf problem, so in order to tackle that, I upped the watering, and it is fine now. We are now in September, so it's going to start cooling off here in a week or so, and that 4 hour sun is not going to be so scorching because the winter sun is going to be lower versus the full sun in the summer. This is not particular for soil. It can take heavy clay, can take rocky, so on and so forth. My soil here is extremely healthy as it's been worked in with kitchen compost as well as tea and coffee, and it is very healthy. So the healthier the soil, of course, the plants are going to thrive, but it's not particular about certain types of soil to thrive. Whenever you add perennials into your cutting garden, something you want to keep in mind is how long. There's 4 things that I actually recommend you do whenever you add perennials into your garden. Number 1, how long do they bloom for? Number 2, is it pest resistant? Number 3, is it disease resistant? And number 4, does it have long stems for you to cut and make bouquets with? So even though these are 4 very basic things, whenever you're adding into your smaller cutting garden, you can go ahead and of course skip 1 or 2. Like say if it's a little bit of a short growing plant, that can be compromised on. Say that if it's it is a shorter blooming season, you specifically want at least 8 or more weeks out of perennials. Since you water them, you take care of them all year, you want them to at least bloom for 2 months, 8 weeks. Anything shorter than that, in my opinion, is a little bit short. So for this particular plant, I have compromised with blooming time since it only blooms for 4 to 6 weeks. However, whenever you add things into your garden, in order for them to thrive and you to actually be able to enjoy the plant versus taking care of it, if it's a pest buffet or if it's if it's just getting diseases left and right, you want to be able to avoid those at all costs. So those are the 2 things you don't want to compromise on. But the other 2, like height of the plant and the blooming period, that's something that is somewhat negotiable. Now, coming to vase life, the stems of this would last, they're woody stems, and they would last anywhere to 5 to 7 days. I would take a mortar, the mortar and pestle, and just with the mortar part of it, and just put the stem and just dent it a little bit so it can drink water easily, since these types of plants, they have a hard time drinking water. This is a great time to go ahead and add your perennials. Late summer or early fall is a great time for adding any kind of bare root plants to your garden. And this is when I've done it. I actually did it a little bit earlier. I did it on the 10th of July, but you can do it all the way until late October. You want to do it before frost comes, though, depending on when frost is for you. So I would recommend you doing it in September and October if frost comes November. And I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.